did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it
I hate
for
these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my old flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on to the hearse. Party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete, I'm a verbal athlete. Deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Grand Rising and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. Happy Tuesday to you. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday. We have an amazing jam-packed show for you. Can't wait to dive in and give you guys some news that you can use. Got to do it with my co-host with the most, as always, my guy, Big O. What up, Big O? Happy Tuesday.
Treyana, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Man, you know what? I feel good. You look good. So
thank
between the
you.
feel good and the look good, you know what I'm saying? I go out. I was saying right before we went on, I was like, man, Trey, you just popping out the camera.
Oh, thank you, my friend. It's a great Tuesday.
Yeah, no, for sure. And man, we got a great show lined up today. We got Dre Franklin's gonna be back here again. We haven't seen Dre since last year on the Morning Update Show. Got a lot of exciting news. Man, they got some money for community. Also, you know, Converge Media, we got a new partnership with Build. So we're actually building together to get information out to community. So we're going to talk about that. We got a queen in the building. We got Porscha Shaw. Porscha Shaw is in the building. She plays Belle in Disney's Beauty and the Beast, now playing at the Fifth Avenue Theater. You know, and of course, Treyana, you always get to interview all the celebrities.
I'm excited because really, I'm telling you, these live shows are amazing. You guys, if you guys are feeling healthy and well, get to the live shows because you will not be disappointed. I can't wait to dive in with Porscha later on in the show.
Yeah, and then we got a good friend, Simon Fox. And it's a name that might not ring a lot of bells with people here on the air. But, you know, in the middle of Seattle protests, right after that, we were trying to people were really trying to help Converge and like donate and help build us up. and we just didn't have the capacity or the means to put things together. And Simon came out of nowhere and volunteered in the very first video. Remember the very first video that we put? Like, man, support Converge Media. You know, I was wearing a suit. He actually talked me into wearing a suit in the video. And, you know, at Converge, we like to say we got the memory of an elephant for people who've been kind to us. And Simon's been working on a great project. It's Roosevelt High School. I put that out there. But Roosevelt Alumni for Racial Equity. Man, they got a great film they put together. We're going to preview a short snippet of it today.
You know what? You're right. Oh, great show indeed. I can't wait to see the snippet that Simon brought. And also, I mean, it's Roosevelt, but it sounds like a great initiative. I'm excited to hear more.
Yeah, you know, come on. I rock with Roosevelt. You know what I'm saying? We used to kick it out there in the North End. Right. All good. All right, let's tee it up. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. Want to remind you that right now, as you speak, is a perfect opportunity for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Remind everybody that you can also listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. Ta-da, there it is. SoundCloud right there on the screen, but also you can check us out on Google, Spotify, iTunes. All you have to do is search Converge Media Network. Time of the show right here. Information from our friends over at Public Health, Seattle, King County. And wow, wasn't Brad Feingood? That segment yesterday about fentanyl use in King County was so enlightening, huh?
Yeah, literally it was. And later that night, unfortunately, I heard of a friend who literally had a friend that just did a fentanyl overdose. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much about it earlier today. It was really insightful what Brad was on. So I love that we can bring people from Public Health King County and dive into some of these statistics they're finding over there. Oh, just crazy how these numbers are rising.
Yeah, people should know too that that wasn't like the PR people or something like this and that. That was actually just an aside conversation with Derek Wheeler Smith at ZYD. I was talking to him about people overdosing, and he was like, hey, talk to Brad, and that's how he got on there on the show. But the link in the comments right here is actually if you need to get vaccinated or want to get vaccinated, and if you need a booster shot, if you're looking for testing, or if you're vaccine hesitant, and we know it's been moving and zigging and zagging, so it's lots of hesitant people out there. One link to be able to answer some questions.
Yeah. Also, too, I mean, right now the government is giving away free home testing, and so there's different locations. I know a lot of post office have these tests where you can pick them up. Libraries also have them too. So if you're looking to also just do testing at home, send in the results, and they'll send them back to you. Like you can do that too. So now they're making it even more accessible. Oh,
yeah, no, we got it here. Actually, covidtest.gov. covidtest.gov. You need a COVID test. They'll put it in the mail. So you ever want to make such a big deal that it's overwhelming, and so you just got to keep it simple?
Oh yeah.
Today is my daddy's birthday. There it is. Happy birthday, Dad. Big shout out to you and everybody down there in Rocky Mountain, North Carolina. You know, really appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? And like, man, I gotta get back down there soon. You know, it's man, my daddy. If you guys really, if you watch this Morning Update Show, and I say this, it's like, you know, with all the best and all due respect, it's like I still try every day to hopefully be as good as my dad. And like, man, if you think that I could debate my daddy, if you think that I could write, my friend, you know, read what my dad writes. If you think I could take a picture, you know, my dad during his heyday was one of the top 100 photographers in the world. So, you know what I'm saying? Here I am in my 40s, and in the best way, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to achieve just a little bit of my dad's greatness in this example that he set for me.
You know, your dad set an amazing example, and, you know, I love you guys' relationship and how we get to see it right here on Converge, you know, sharing, you know, his story, your story, and your connection. But also your dad is just so gracious. So I just want to send my own happy birthday to you out there, Pops. You're phenomenal. So glad that you are with us for another year. You know what? I got to say, this is where it's just all about the celebration and love of life, man, because your Pops really embodies that. He's amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. We got to. Where did that come from? Simon, can you do me a favor? It's a bottle in there in that refrigerator. You know, it's like you. Simon's a guest, but he's also crew. Right there on the see the big one? Yeah, bring that to me here real quick. Yep. Because I want this is important. Thank you, Simon. So we got this bottle from G Prez Aspie to mark the grand opening of this studio. And we were gonna do the big grand opening celebration. And then, of course, unfortunately, my dad had a stroke. And so, we've never done the grand opening of this studio, although it's operational here and everything else. So just letting you know, Dad, that we literally keeping this bottle on ice. I know that you're recovering in such an amazing way. And we got this bottle still right here in this refrigerator. We haven't opened it because we're waiting for you, James Salisbury Jr., to come into this studio so we can officially launch it.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I was wondering why that bottle had been there for so long, but it's a great story behind it. And honestly, Pops, we are sending you all the love. I know you're surrounded by love on your birthday, and you deserve every bit of that love. Can't wait to have you actually here in studio with us.
Yeah, no, Jake was just down there. He said, Pops is doing good, huh? Yeah, no, good stuff. Well, man, we'll see him soon here. You know what I'm saying? We're calling that into existence. Another thing, the premiere of Art of the Matter was yesterday. Man, what? Takia T-Dub Award. It's a show for artists, by artists, about artists. An amazing show. Takia, and we got the link there in the comments. So man, give this thing. Listen, we want you guys to be intentional about your support. You know what I'm saying? We got traumatized on all this news stuff and everything else. In Converge, man, we want to be where our real purpose is at, and that's uplifting creative people in our community. And creatives, and T-Dub put her literally her heart, soul into this episode 1 of Art of the Matter. It's right there. Be intentional about sharing and getting the word out, huh?
And let me say this, it was phenomenal. It's a great show. And you know what? Shout out to Moses' son. I mean, he was so, connected. And the conversation that he and T-Dub were able to have was really felt with me as an audience member, just sitting there watching it. So I promise you guys, you will not be disappointed. Amazing show. Shout out to T-Dub. Shout out to Brady, the editor. They worked together on this. And T-Dub, you're right, put a lot into this, even into the graphics at the end there, where she's like, look, that's just my handwriting. I'm like, man, she's phenomenal and really saw this thing through and produced the heck out of it. And I loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we're challenging, we don't challenge you guys often, but we're challenging you. Be intentional, get the word out everywhere that you see Art of the Matter. We need you to go and share it. If you see it somewhere on our Twitter, retweet it. If you saw it, the YouTube, get it out, because this is where we want to be. This is how we thrive in our purpose. The best thing that we can ever do, and what's going to ensure our success, is if we put our focus in uplifting other people.
That's right. And it's shown time and time again. I mean, as a recipient of that, it really is real. And you guys can even read about it. The Queens of Converge, like when we were all talking about what it meant for us to be here, you can see it in the pieces that we're pulling out from Belize, the connectivity. It's real.
All right, good stuff. What else is real is this bag that Build has for community, man. I'm hearing on the streets. They got like $20,000 and $1,000 grants. So they're trying to help out 20 businesses, individuals. Dre, matter of fact, I got a handcrafted motion graphic. There it is. Dre Franklin, Brothers United in Leadership Development. He's up next right here on the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Beta Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
Many years ago, the young Romanov princess went missing. Now, a woman has appeared with no name and no past, but with the drive to discover her destiny. Her past is a mystery. Her future is an adventure. Anastasia, the Broadway musical.
Playing the Paramount Theater January 25th through 30th. Tickets at stgpresents.org.
Hey y'all, T-Dub here, letting you know about another art funding opportunity. For culture recovery funding for individuals is available now, and here's what you need to know to apply. Are you a cultural producer who has been impacted by the pandemic? If you answered yes, but what is a cultural producer? Well, you are a cultural producer if your work, paid or unpaid, is dedicated to creating cultural experiences in any discipline or at any stage of your career. Some examples include exhibit designers, museums educations, archivists, restoration professionals, curators, history researchers, artists, of course, and more. In understanding that grant language can sometimes feel exclusive to specific people, using terms like cultural producer is one of the ways For Culture seeks to broaden its scope of applicants. In other words, this funding is for you. And look, the application fatigue is real. I get it, they get it. But the For Culture staff is here to walk you through it. They have grants from $1,000 to $12,000, so please don't miss out. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, February 2nd. Head to forculture.org/recovery to get information on virtual group workshops, application support, language translation, and more.
We invite you to be our guest at Disney's Beauty and the Beast. It's a tale as old as time in a brand new production by the Fifth Avenue Theater. Return to the magic of live theater with one of the most enchanting musicals of all time. Disney's Beauty and the Beast at the Fifth, January 12th to February 6th. Tickets at fifthavenue.org.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. You know, crazy thing about that is we actually got the beauty in the house. Porscha Shaw is in here. She plays Belle in Disney's Beauty and the Beast, coming up in the next segment. But right now, I'm joined by Andre Franklin of Build. What's up, brother?
Man, trying to stay COVID-free in a world full of COVID, man.
Man, that's tough. That's almost as tough as trying to avoid racism or something.
Man, right, for real. The way it's moving around now, man. Apocalypse.
All right, so real quick, because we got a few things to touch on, but for people who aren't aware of Build, man, tell everybody what Build's all about.
Yeah, Build is Brothers United in Leadership Development, and really we focus on issues that impact Black men and boys, but we also understand that there's a lot of intersectionality with that. So we've been rocking. It's a bunch of us in the community that are doing stuff, tapped in. We've been rocking since 2013, and really it's about our relationships with each other, but also getting out and having fun, interactive activities with the community, and then trying to leverage resources, overlaying some of those fun Black Joy-led activities with the community. So, yeah.
Man, you do a lot of good stuff, but you say it real mellow. Oh, it's a morning show, man. I got the camera right. Let me tell you about Bill, right? These guys, the best thing is like I said, from 2013. So they've been at it for a while now, man. Really impacted young people. And like I said, the intersections of it, they do all kinds of different stuff, lots of events, leadership development, entrepreneurship development. You know, this is organizations like Build are really like ground zero when we talk about disrupting some of these cycles where our young people end up in jail, or our young people end up dead, or our young people end up further marginalized. An organization like Build is on the front line of that. See, this is much better, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I do this for a living.
That's what's up. And yeah, and part of that too is we're not really a service provider, but we provide services, but also like we're part of the work. So it's like, you know, like we don't approach the work like we got all the answers and we got all together. So we rock with each other, and that's really beneficial for us and our mental health and making sure that we're staying on point. You know what I'm saying? So because racism and all this capitalism, all that impacts all of us.
All right, and we do got some news here too, and you know, it's Converge has very few partners. I mean, we cool with everybody. By the way, you know what I'm saying? Everybody rocks with us, even up there at Roosevelt, huh? You know what I'm saying? The whole city. But you know, we're announcing here today a partnership with Converge and with Build, where Converge can sit here and be able to amplify the work that Build is doing.
Yeah, we're excited, and like I said, it's really about the relationship, uplifting the work that we're doing, uplifting the work that y'all are doing in the community and sharing resources that we and you have access to really get the information out there to the Black community. And, I thought it would be good too, to really get some South End seasoning salt in the mix.
You hear that, Trey? It's the South End. Man, we love the South End.
I know, it's all love.
Listen, there's not too many times that we alter the color scheme of our Converge gear. You know what I'm saying? We do our Pride shirt. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only other time the only other time we altered it was our Rainier Beach shirt, where we went orange. Like, we love the South End.
I know, it's all love.
Why are you looking at me like that? Best thing is, though, is Dre and Bill, they've been busy down there. You got lots of you've actually tell people about some of the things that you guys have produced that people will soon see here on Converge.
Yeah, so we've had several shows, and we're excited to get them out on y'all's platform. So we have Build the Collective Network, Stories from the South End, where we're interviewing cats that I grew up with in the South End, sharing their experience, especially with all this talk over the past couple of years around alternatives to incarceration. We really wanted to talk to people that were really, really impacted, have been impacted by that. We also have my son and my guy, Aaron Counts. They got a show called Build Art Break, which is really them doing interactive stuff. They were mailing art kits out, going through the postman and mailing art kits out to folks. And then they were interviewing artists just about the impacts and the benefits of art. And then we're working on a few other shows as well. So we're really looking forward to tapping in with the network that y'all have and sharing the content and getting it pushed out to the community even further.
Yeah, one thing I will say is this before we move on, that Converge, all these guys, Trayana and Jake, and so I'm going to tell you the number one word here is commitment. We can't partner with anybody about anything if there's no commitment. And the best thing is I see commitment. You said you were going to do something, you put it together, you guys have put out, you produced all these episodes and everything else. And the commitment is there because, a lot of times with video and everything, it's kind of fly by night, or either people have the best intentions, then they realize, hey, man, this is kind of tough. And then they stop 1 episode, 3 episodes in or something like that. You guys have been very committed, and we're looking forward to airing Build content here on Converge and also reciprocating, sending stuff over to you guys.
Yeah, and it is a lot, and we learned a lot of that with the shift with COVID, right? I think everybody went to a virtual. So it's things that are going to benefit us in the community in the long run, and then working with other organizations to teach them some of the skills, teach them some of the skills. So we're also looking forward to learning from the partnership that we're putting together with y'all. So we're really excited.
All right, good stuff. So you guys will be hearing more about that from us. Next up here is the Build Black Wealth Workshop in Grant. We got an overlay up there. There it is. So tell us about it. There's a workshop, and also we talked about this earlier. $20,000 out there, $1,000 grants for 20 companies, right?
Yeah. So we're kicking it off with our incubator program, where we're going to have $20,000, so $1,000 grants for 20, not just businesses but organizations, because we also know there's a lot of grassroots organizations that may not be nonprofit, may not have their LLC or business license. We got the link, and the link will be in the chat. But you also can go to our website, build206.com. But yeah, we'll be doing that. It closes next week on the 3rd. So we open it up the 3rd of this month, and it closes February 3rd. So make sure you get your application in, share. There's no age limit. The only requirement is that you're based within King County. But other than that, there's really no age limit. There's no certain type of businesses or organizations that we're looking for. We just want to make sure that it's Black led and for the Black community.
All right, you guys hear that? That's the $1,000. Businesses and organizations, like he says, a lot of stuff. There's grassroots out there, no age limit within King County. And man, this is good to see in community. You know what I'm saying? And from different community stakeholders. You got an organization like Build. You've got a commercial enterprise like Ezel's. You know what I'm saying? Like, people within our community or within community finding resources for each other.
Yeah, and then the solutions are going to come from us, right? That's always what it is. And then part I want to touch on too with the Build Black Wealth series is we're going to have free workshops for community as well around taxes. So for contractors, businesses, individuals, families, we'll have workshops with a tax professional to teach them about and answer questions, home ownership, workshops around home ownership, investing and debt management. goal setting. There's a plethora of workshops that we're going to have. Oh, another one that's really important, life insurance and estate planning. So things that a lot of us, like I know for me, I'm first generation, like of investing in stocks and things like that. So I'm teaching my son those types of things. But a lot of us, it's like, how do you get that information unless you have it? So we're looking forward to really providing a lot of free workshops. And all of our instructors are folks of color from the community that are tapped in with the Black community. So it's a dope opportunity to be able to pay folks to share information and then also be able to provide some resources to the community about building Black wealth. So.
All right, good stuff. Only got a little bit of time left here. Why don't you go ahead and let people know what else is coming up and build?
So we got a lot going on. We got our voter education. Our Guy Davis, Mr. Nice Guy's leading our Build the Vote initiative. We're going to be rolling out some information around employment rights in the city of Seattle, labor laws within the city of Seattle. And then we got a bunch of interactive events like our Mother's Day event, which Trey was one of our honorees last year. So we're looking forward to doing our second annual Mother's Day event. We have our Father's Day event, flag football, kickball, all different movies in the park. Actually, before I got here, I was on a meeting with the Arc Lodge, trying to solidify a partnership with them to really go out and do some free movies at the Arc Lodge, as well as getting out to the community. So we're excited, we're tapped in, and I think this partnership that we're developing and launching with Converge and the Converge family, I think we're going to converge and build. Let's make it happen.
There you go. Welcome to the fam. All right. Salman has put the link to build in the comments. Yep. So you guys can check out everything there. Dre Franklin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. We're going to take a quick break right now. Me and Dre, we're definitely getting kicked off the set because next up, there it is. Porscha Shaw plays Belle in Disney's Beauty and the Beast at the Fifth Avenue Theater. So she's on. We got the Queens is on their way up to the set. So we gotta get out of here.
Let's make room.
There it is. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here with some much needed information about what's happening in our communities when it comes to COVID-19 in 2022. Omicron is actually the latest COVID-19 variant and honestly is hitting our local communities and hospitals pretty hard. You can help out by 1, making sure you are vaccinated, 2, making sure you have your booster, and 3, simply masking up. As we learn more about COVID-19, we're also learning more about how the vaccine works best. A booster shot 2 to 5 months after your COVID-19 vaccine significantly improves protection against COVID and its many variants. If you need a COVID-19 vaccine or a booster, there are free options for transportation and childcare that are available. To learn more about all of your options and where you can get your booster shot, go to kingcounty.gov/COVID/vaccine.
Many years ago, the young Romanov princess went missing. Now, a woman has appeared with no name and no past, but with the drive to discover her destiny. Her past is a mystery. Her future is an adventure. Anastasia, the Broadway musical.
Playing the Paramount Theater January 25th through 30th. Tickets at stgpresents.org.
Hey y'all, T-Dub here, letting you know about another art funding opportunity. For culture recovery funding for individuals is available now, and here's what you need to know to apply. Are you a cultural producer who has been impacted by the pandemic? If you answered yes, but what is a cultural producer? Well, you are a cultural producer if your work, paid or unpaid, is dedicated to creating cultural experiences in any discipline or at any stage of your career. Some examples include exhibit designers, museums educations, archivists, restoration professionals, curators, history researchers, artists, of course, and more. In understanding that grant language can sometimes feel exclusive to specific people, using terms like cultural producer is one of the ways For Culture seeks to broaden its scope of applicants. In other words, this funding is for you. And look, the application fatigue is real. I get it, they get it. But the For Culture staff is here to walk you through it. They have grants from $1,000 to $12,000, so please don't miss out. The deadline to apply is Wednesday, February 2nd. Head to forculture.org/recovery to get information on virtual group workshops, application support, language translation, and more.
we invite you to be our guest at Disney's Beauty and the Beast. It's a tale as old as time in a brand new production by the Fifth Avenue Theater. Return to the magic of live theater with one of the most enchanting musicals of all time. Disney's Beauty and the Beast at the Fifth, January 12th to February 6th. Tickets at fifthavenue.org.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and joining me right now on the set is Belle herself from Beauty and the Beast, Porscha Shaw. Hi, honey.
Hi.
Well, you know what? I have been hyping myself up for this interview, and as Omari said earlier, like, I've just been so grateful to be able to really interview cast members from these amazing shows that are coming to STG theaters. And so thank you so much for making time in your busy schedule to be with us today.
Thank you for even having me. I'm so honored to be here in your space.
Well, you know, I got to ask you, starting off, this is the first time they're really showcasing Belle as a Black lead. So, you know, I'm going right to it.
Yeah.
For you, you know, as an actress and growing up seeing these shows, how is it for you to take that on?
It's actually really hard. At first, it was I was in disbelief when I was cast, and I was in disbelief really until 2 weeks through rehearsal. I just was like, there's no way this is me. There's no way this is for me. This is not for me. And then the best way I can describe it is being like a little kid again and being able to just be in awe every day that it's really for me, and it's really for the people in my cast who look like me and the people in the audience who look like me and sound like me. And I really could cry every day from like the joy that I get and the wonder that I get from being able to do this.
Oh, beautiful answer. I'm telling you, because I think a lot of these shows take us back to our childhood, particularly because they're timeless shows, right? And we've seen these stories time and time again. And so I love that you even responded that way. Now, let's just go back to your beginnings as an actress. You know, how did you start? You know, where did you, come from? Give us your background.
I'm from Houston, Texas. Well, I'm from Richmond, Texas, which is right outside of Houston. And now my family lives in Houston proper. I originally was an opera singer. I trained with the Houston Grand Opera in high school. I changed my major at the very last minute to do musical theater. Musical theater was like not my thing back then. And then I had a professor, John Jory, who was like, hey, if you want to do acting, you'd be pretty good at it. I think you should audition for grad school. I did that. I got into grad school, moved here to go to UW. And I pretty much have been acting ever since. And I've kind of fallen in love with it ever since. It's just kind of like a journey that like unfolded for me that I had never even imagined in my life. So yeah, I'm here.
Well, I love how our journey always take us somewhere that we're not sure where we're going to go. You know, this audience knows I always talk about how I started acting and modeling when I was 9 years old, right? And so they may see me here and think, oh, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you just, all of a sudden you and Omari did this. But we talk about our backgrounds a lot because we know that oftentimes, particularly in the creative field, it's like it starts way back when, there's always this spark. What is some of the favorite roles that you played thus far before you got Belle?
My favorite role I've ever played is probably Clytemnestra in 12 Ophelias. So she's a lot of people know Helen of Troy. She's the queen on the winning side of the Trojan War. And that was my favorite role to play. One, because she like is a queen, and I never thought that anyone would ever cast me as a queen. And then she has a lot of bite. I like to play characters who have bite and women who aren't afraid to like speak up and speak out. And I really like just me being Black always changes the narrative when I'm playing those parts. And then another part that I played that I loved, Justin Huertas, who is a local musical theater writer, he writes musicals for almost every house in Seattle, wrote a new musical called the World Octopus Wrestling Championship. And I got to play an octopus. And that was really cool to be a like Black octopus. And he like wrote the music with me in mind. And that was really great. And yeah, I really have been fortunate to play a lot of roles 4 women at Seattle Rep. I was in that, and that was incredible. That was an incredible thing to do. And Shout Sister Shout, I was just in the ensemble with those people at the Rep, and that was incredible. The cast was incredible. I think I've just been fortunate enough to like almost everything that I've done.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in the creative field, you know, it's also this gig economy to a certain degree. And so, you know, you're like, okay, I'm thrown into something. Maybe it doesn't necessarily quite fit, but it's going to pay the bills right now. So I, you know, I got to do what I got to do.
Absolutely.
And it's great to hear you as a Black woman talk about it from a Seattle perspective, because we always think, oh, you know, small Black population, people joke across the country, there's Black people in Seattle. And we're like, there's a strong Black community in Seattle. And so I love to hear your perspective from the creative side about that. You know, one thing I always talk about with creatives, particularly artists, photographers, anybody really in the creative field, is that there's a family, right? Like almost probably, I'm sure the people that you've been able to work with, you make connections with and build relationships. Tell us about that, because you've entered into this kind of tight-knit, you know, creative circle that probably has its own kind of familial characteristics.
Yeah, that's yes. I think since I went to UW for my master's here, a lot of casting directors were able to see me do work in school, right? So when I graduated, and I'm one of my classmates who stayed here, people like knew of me. So that helped me get into my auditions and kind of break into the community probably more easier than a Black person who would have just moved here. You know what I mean? They have a different experience. I was kind of put into a community. But I also think that, unfortunately, but also fortunately, I think all Black and brown people have this, like, we have to be better than, we have to like show up, we have to be great. And I had that. I also come from Texas. Everything in Texas is a competition, right? Like every single thing. You do cheerleading, you do writing, all of it. So I'm naturally competitive, and I was determined to be a part of this community. I said I wanted to work for a year. I wanted to work for a year straight, and I would go where I was wanted, which is different than some people. I think some people try to go at it a different way, but I think me being like, I know my worth, and I'm gonna go where I'm wanted, helped me get even more so into the community, instead of trying to break down walls where I wasn't welcome. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going to places where people love you already and people that are creating space for you already, I think is more beneficial for Black and brown people, especially because we come from community sense and community lifestyle. Like, I grew up 1 block from my grandmother, and everybody in my neighborhood knows me in Texas, right? So I very much so wanted that when I left school. I wanted a community that wanted me to be there, that wanted to work with me, that wanted to curate with me, that understood what I could bring to the table. And I think that helped me a lot versus like, I didn't audition for the Fifth Avenue Theater for years. Not literally, I think I auditioned one other time because it was not a place where I thought I was welcome, right? It was not a place, I didn't see lots of people on stage who looked like me, and definitely not as leading roles. And so I went to places like Arts West in West Seattle, where I definitely saw people on stage like me. And I think that just being in those places has caused bigger places to be like, hey, like, you're doing a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah, I'm working with people who love me and are loving on me, and I get to love on them. And I think that's a good seed for Black and brown people to build from, instead of trying to break down or like get into places first where people don't want you, right? Because that can create even more negativity around thought about your worth and who you are, right? When you audition for places or do things where people like, no, right? Lots of closed doors. And so I like to walk in the doors that are open.
You know, that is beautiful to tell it in that way. And, you know, you talk about Arts West Theater, definitely a fan of Arts West Theater. It's where I got my like kind of breakout start in a professional theater with regard to stage managing, and got to stage manage A Raisin in the Sun back in the day when I was like 18, you know what I mean? And honestly, just enjoyed, again, that open door and that welcoming spirit. And I think also too, it does something for us, because already societally, I mean, Omari made a joke earlier about, you know, like trying to escape racism. And it's like, already societally, we have to deal with closed doors, you know, right? Discrimination, oppression, whatever. Absolutely. And so the idea that you have been able to move in an intentional way doors that are welcoming you is a beautiful way of thinking about it. Just last night, I was with a young woman, and she's like, I want to break out in the media, can you just talk to me? And like, we already had a relationship through organizing. And I'm like, yeah, let's just sit down, let's have tea, whatever. And so, I always understand that the position I have here, even at Converge, and the things I do in community with regard to media, people see me in a certain way. And I don't always see myself in that way. I'm like, hey, I'm just putting my head down, doing the work. And so you understand, like, there's always this kind of community that's watching. How has your family responded to what you're doing up here in the Pacific Northwest, from you being down south, and like now they're probably just watching your career flourish? How has that been for you?
I could literally cry. It has been a journey. It's been a journey. Just starting from being in Texas. I love Texas. I'm a Texan at heart, but my people are off. Okay. And there was a lot of, if you not black if you don't do these certain things. Like, you're not black enough. You inquire, black kids don't do that. You in speech and debate, black kids don't do that. And even for my own mother, right? My own mother had those ideas and ideals about art and just like what it was. And she's completely changed her perspective, almost like 360 once I got into undergrad and like left home. And most of my family's never seen me in a play. My mother has seen me in multiple plays, but Beauty and the Beast was the first time they had ever seen me on stage in a play. And they were just in awe. My grandmother passed away 2 years ago, and this is like the reunion week of her passing. So for them to be able to be here in town, for us all to be together, and for them to witness me really like take up space in a way that I've never taken up space at home, it's exhilarating, and I can't even put it into words. I have a very supportive family. I've been very fortunate in that way. A lot of people don't have that. And I want to acknowledge that there are people who don't have family members who are like, yeah, go after your dreams and do what you want to do. But I have that. And it is an absolute blessing. And I am so honored to have them as my family. And I'm looking forward to like continuing to like put them in awe, and like what I can do, what other girls like me can do, what they can do, what their children and what their great-grandchildren can do, what our family can do, what our family need, like what we deserve, the things that we can have. It has been a joy, and they have been great. And they're gonna tell everybody when they get back to Texas that they saw me on stage. They're gonna tell everybody who'll listen.
Well, I love it. Lastly, I mean, you're talking about something that I think is so key when we talk about family, this creative community here, and how it feels. I know STG even told us at Converge, they said, look, we are being intentional. We are opening these doors to the theaters we have. We want the community to feel like this is their home. And, when Omari and I got to do the morning update show at the Paramount, we really felt that love from SCG. And again, this intentionality of being like, no, we're building relationship intentional, and we want to make sure you guys feel that welcome. So how has it been for you? Because now you're talking about, hey, you weren't at Fifth Avenue Theater, and now you have this open door and this welcome. But I do think it's part of this kind of larger story and narrative around SCG's intentionality to open it up so that people like you and me that look like us do feel like, wait a minute, there's somebody on stage representing us. And now I know I can come there. I can feel welcome, and I can feel comfortable in the seat while I'm watching this.
Absolutely.
And Porscha, you're a part of that.
I keep remembering that.
Yeah. So in terms of that, like the young Black girls who are out there looking at you, I just want you to be able to speak to that.
Yeah. I first and foremost, something that's really important for me to bring up in this interview, because it hasn't been able to come up in anything else. I have been recently diagnosed with a disability. And so I even more so did not believe that this was possible for me. I was like, it's one thing to be Black, it's one thing to be a woman, but it's another thing to be a Black disabled woman, right? And so for me to be on stage and creating these pathways for girls who look like me, I could just keep doing it. Like I will break down as many doors as I can with my personal hands, with my personal fists and my personal feet for for girls who look like me, sound like me, want to be on stage, because it is so deeply important. The first preview, I was walking backstage and I saw a little Black baby with her dreads and her bell dress on, and it took me down. Because it's one thing to like know that you're changing things, but it's another thing to like witness it and see babies like in their bell dress, like, girl, we're ready. Girl, we're ready. We're ready to hear her. We're ready to see her. And so I just want to encourage young girls to keep going and to go to those places where it might be scary. And I will be honest, the director is my friend, right? So there is a piece of it where it's like, still go where you are loved, right? Don't go to places where people are going to mistreat you. Still, if you have to take a friend, take a friend. If you need to take your friend to your audition so she can be like, girl, you're bomb, you're doing it, you look great, sing down, whatever you need to get into those doors, do it. Because people are changing things, and I'm gonna be a part of that change, and Fifth Avenue is being a part of that change, and our cast is being a part of that change. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Porscha Shaw.
Yeah.
You have warmed my heart today. I mean it.
Same.
I thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
can't
for
wait to
having
build
me.
more relationship with you, because this is just the beginning, girl.
Yes.
This is just the beginning right here.
Amen, yes.
Thank you so much for being with us today and shining your light on this set.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm so honored.
Absolutely.
This is
You guys, I'm over here on an emotional roller coaster with Miss Porscha, because I cannot wait to see her. I get to be there on Friday, and I'm bringing my sister. We love Beauty and the Beast, so I cannot wait. T Mike, you know it's me and you. It's on Friday. You guys heard it from Porscha herself. I can't wait to be able to wrap this up with Omari at the end of the show, because I'm feeling all of the great vibes over here. Right after this short break, Omari's coming back to the set with Simon Fox. Stay tuned, you guys. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
In the depths of Belize, the travelers come across the waters, harvesting with their hands, learning of resilience rooted deep in the lands. Culture thriving like a fire ablaze, sizzling with a pop and a chop, sharing its ways. Knowledge simmers and grinds into the hearts and minds, cutting away from the surface stories and colonial lies, boiling it down, breaking its shell as the truth pours out and gets plated collectively with love, spooned into bowls, feeding the soul. Garifuna, alive and strong at Palmetto Grove.
Many years ago, the young Romanov princess went missing. Now, a woman has appeared with no name and no past, but with the drive to discover her destiny. Her past is a mystery. Her future is an adventure. Anastasia, the Broadway musical.
Playing the Paramount Theater January 25th through 30th. Tickets at stgpresents.org.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury. Great segment right there. Porscha Shaw and Trey Holiday, Beauty and the Beast, playing right now, Fifth Avenue Theater right here in Seattle. Really excited to get down there. I haven't actually been to Fifth Avenue Theater yet, so excited to get there. But right now, got my good friend Simon Fox. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing really good. Emerging from spending the last few months editing at a computer, so getting reacquainted with daytime. And I would say sunshine, but not quite.
Right. And now you sent over title of videographer, but I mean, you do a little bit more than that, right?
Well, I am much more used to being on that side of the camera, but I do videography and editing, as well as some still photography. And I don't know, tag along with you sometimes.
All right, good stuff. Like I said on the top of the show, met Simon during the Seattle protests, and although Converge, we're pretty good at making internal video. we didn't have anything external to be able to talk to the general public about what Converge is about, because we were busy talking about what the news. And Simon came on the scene and used all your videography and editing experience and really made actually made our first video talking about like, where's Converge, is what we do. Here's how people can support. I'll never forget that, man.
Me neither. It was a great experience for me too. It was awesome to get to work with all of you, and I don't know, looking forward to maybe future collaboration.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right. So amongst the many things that you do and you got going on, you're part of a group or organization called Roosevelt Alumni for Racial Equity. Why don't you tell us what that's all about?
Yeah, absolutely. RARE, Roosevelt Alumni for Racial Equity, came together in the summer of 2020. And they kind of looked at the state of things. They had classmates that were part of the voluntary racial transfer program, which was kind of Seattle's first attempt at integrating through busing. So students from the CD and the Central District were bused up to Roosevelt at kind of an attempt at integration. And so in the summer of 2020, classmates came back together that they were thinking about celebrating their 50th high school reunion, but decided to come together in maybe a more meaningful and impactful way and put together a scholarship foundation for students of color at Roosevelt, as well as production on a documentary that would kind of illuminate the history of busing and attempts at integration in Seattle over the last 50 years, starting with the voluntary racial transfer program, going through mandatory busing, and then controlled choice to the landscape that we find ourselves in today, which is very little, if any, busing, very little, if any, attempts at integrating our schools. And so we, through the process of working on the documentary, found Seattle Public Schools are kind of resegregated after all this time.
It's interesting because now that Black people have been gentrified out of the city, it's gone back to neighborhood schools. But when people wanted to go to school in the neighborhood, like G. Prez lived by Garfield, he was out in Ingram. You know what I'm saying? So that's real. This sounds like this documentary it talks and covers a lot of this, huh?
Yeah. So I know you're talking Roosevelt. You're saying, hey, I was a Bulldog. I don't know if I want to give too much airtime to these Rough Riders. But I would say that the documentary itself is about much more than just Roosevelt. It kind of uses Roosevelt as a case study, as a fairly wealthy North End school, but that's in the context of Seattle Public Schools, where we have a ton of inequity between North and South End.
No, and let me tell you, first of all, I got nothing but good memories hanging out over at Roosevelt. So you guys it's all and these days, to be honest with you, the city has changed so much. So anybody that like went to a Seattle Public High School, like come on the show. It's all good. It's no issue. We got a trailer that you put together here, man. I'll let you set it up. Tell us what we're gonna see here.
Well, this is a trailer of the full documentary is about 30 minutes. This is about 3 minutes of footage that we put together to kind of just show, the general topics. The documentary itself goes into much greater detail about integration, inequity, North versus South End inequity, as well as the Seattle Nice, which is a topic that I think we kind of laugh and joke about a little bit, but it's kind of serious. Like people in Seattle saying all the right things, but then when the rubber hits the road, it's like, okay, thanks so much. It was great to meet you. Bye.
Is that the Black Lives Matter sign in the window? But then like,
well, there's a few different signs in people's yards. Absolutely. I think that's a little bit of what we found is that you put the sign in your yard. We believe that, every person is a person, but then when it comes down to it, unwillingness to make a greater sacrifice than a lawn decoration. And we see that through busing a lot, where it's like, if you asked any Seattleite, do you think integration or do you think segregation is a good thing? People would say, no way. But if you said, okay, are you willing to put your kid on a bus for 20 minutes, 30 minutes? They'd be, well, not my kid. I wouldn't want to put my kid through that. So we have a lot of performance in Seattle. But here's just a quick taste of the full documentary.
We got to hold up the freedom
There's so many ways that racism and inequity and privilege show up in our system, and we've gotten really good at disguising those ways so that it doesn't sound offensive.
We're basically having a performance, a race dance. And I think Seattle's a place that has a race dance, where they don't actually talk about the issues in the most critical ways that matter.
If we really want our kids successful, they're going to need the skills that we teach them here about race and equity.
What happens when race really comes up in our classrooms? Mostly we have white students getting really uncomfortable.
We have a super segregated city, and it's created a bubble in the north end of whiteness and privilege.
And it's not that the system's broke. It was designed to work that way against you.
When discussing racial equity, the kumbaya days are over.
Put all that politics stuff to the side. Like, this is our life.
Young people are the best way to do anything. Why? Because if you do it right, you're done.
I think it's on our shoulders. It's our responsibility to fight for racial equity.
I think we'll constantly be doing the work of racial equity, and I think we'll constantly be trying to strive for that perfect thing. We may not ever obtain it, but I think it's important to always work towards it.
Your duty is to inspire those coming after you to join in the struggle to define and redefine what is American.
You don't want to be like Tony I, 68 years old, 50 years later, talking about the same things that we talked about 50 years ago.
I have granddaughters, and I tell her every day you walk out this door, go be brilliant and go do something right for somebody else. And it's gonna come back to you. And I believe she's going to do that. I keep telling her, you guys are gonna get it right one day. I probably won't see it, but I know I put this in you now to go get it right.
If we don't really get involved, I think we're right back at the Kerner Commission again. 2 nations, separate and unequal, 1 black, 1 white. Who wants to live there?
All right, Simon. Man, I mean, that's 3 minutes. You said the whole thing's 30 minutes, huh?
30 minutes. We go into a little history, and yeah, we dive pretty deep. So I would encourage anybody who's interested, if that spoke to you, in an educational sense, then, January 31st, we'll be doing a screening. I think maybe we have a graphic for it.
Yeah, well, we've got the link in the comments, which is even more active.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
People can click the link right there and they can sign up for it. And yeah, Seattle protests. I remember one thing, my son was out there early on, and I did a lot of interviews at the time, and people were like, well, what's to come of this? And I remember always saying that, like, every generation, every black man in my family is continuous. My grandfather, James Salisbury Sr., fought in World War II, and he came back to North Carolina to the Cotton Curtain, where he was just a nigger. You know what I'm saying? My father, James Salisbury Jr., faced all kinds of racism in his life. Here I am right here, in the middle of these Seattle protests. And now there's my son. And I'm like, man, hopefully 20 years from now, he's not, it's not the same thing. I only bring that up because, in there, somebody mentioned like 50 years later is some of the same issues. Any thoughts?
Well, yeah, that's kind of the start of the film is a little bit, the more things change, the more they stay the same in a lot of ways. And the frustrating part about Seattle public schools today is that they've kind of slid backwards into re-segregating based on our neighborhoods, which people say, oh, it's just, it's a coincidence of where I live, where I go to school, but it's not a coincidence. If you look at the old redlining maps of Seattle, you see nothing was coincidental about the way that the city was planned. And so there's a fair amount of that it's kind of it's de facto racism. It's like, you don't have to be the one screaming in somebody's face saying you can't go to school, in Little Rock, Arkansas. You can be the person that says, well, that's just, that's what the North End looks like. It looks like that, and so that's what the schools look like. But none of it is coincidental, and that's really what the documentary dives into.
All right, good stuff. You say you're not on this side of the camera often, but you are here. So any questions for me?
I do have a question for you. So as a fellow Bulldog, when I went to Garfield, I was bused from West Seattle. And I thought it was very, I feel like I was kind of proud. I was like, oh, I'm going to Garfield, and on paper and kind of in the lunchroom, things looked pretty diverse. And there was a certain pride to that. Like, hey, we're at this school in the middle of the city that's kind of integrated. But I looked at a lot of my classes, and they were pretty white. Like, a lot of the classes that I was in. So I was going to ask about your experience, because you went to Garfield maybe 10 years before I did. And I was going to ask you if that's what the lunchroom looked like, if that's what your classrooms looked like.
Is that what your question was? Come out here and call me old man.
Hey, the question wasn't what year did you graduate? It was, what did Garfield look like?
All right. So when I was at Garfield, it's really interesting because that was there, but it wasn't. I don't think 10 years later it was more defined. So it was there in just a few classes, like, marine biology. Marine biology, there was a great class. These guys used to take a field trip to Hawaii and all kinds of stuff. And it was Mr. McGowan, and that class was very white, but most of our classes then, and you got to think Garfield had a much bigger black population overall. And then you got these subsections that started to grow in kind of Garfield, and these exclusionary areas that were there. That wasn't necessarily my experience when I was there, and it was crazy too, because you're right. You go to the lunchroom, you go this and that. I mean, one, it was always a sense of belonging, no matter what people's race or ethnic background, because most white kids that went to Garfield wanted to be at Garfield. So it wasn't one of those things. It wasn't one of these situations where, it's hostile kind of environment or whatever. But it was, we had way more black people in advanced classes and everything else than when you went to school there. I took 2 foreign language classes. It was, it was thick. I'm saying? I took French, I took Spanish, I took a bunch of science classes. I took, I went that route. It was a lot of black people I was in class with.
Yeah, and it's interesting now today. I wonder if you've spoken to people that talk about like the kind of the tale of two Garfields, that there's segregation within an integrated school. But maybe that's a whole nother documentary.
It's like I tell people all the time, we just get it coming and going here, man. You know what I'm saying? The tale of two Gar. I mean, yeah, and it's true. That's unfortunately is very much true. I really like how, you're using your camera and your know-how and your street smarts and everything else in creating something here that is thought-provoking, asking a lot of hard questions. Maybe some answers are found. Lots of times answers will still remain. Man, I appreciate your work.
Thanks, and right back at you.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, and yeah, you're right. You hooked up with, take this, I got to figure it out, because you hooked up with the Roosevelt alumni, and we got to hook up with the Garfield alumni. Let's see what we can put together. You know what I'm saying? Interesting story that might be there to be told.
Absolutely. And if I have time just to leave people with, one thought and maybe one shout out, it would be
right there.
That throughout this documentary process, you're hoping to find that magic bullet, that answer. Oh, is it busing? Is it magnet programs? Is it all this stuff? And there's complications and messiness with all of it. And I just don't want people to get depressed, because there are people out there doing really kind of frontline work on these issues of educational equity. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the NAACP Youth Council that we got to interview and speak with, because in this world of yard signs and kind of like big picture ideas about what equity means, they have 9 very, very concrete demands that they are saying this is what will help achieve equity in Seattle public schools. And I thought that was incredibly refreshing.
Yeah, man, no, good stuff. People need to keep in mind too, Seattle Public Schools is $1 billion school district. You know what I'm saying? They got $1 billion in that school district over there. So they figure it out. Simon, I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time. Salman, do we have that link in the comments for everybody? We put the link in the comments. We want to encourage everybody to go and sign up January 31st, right? And that's what day is premiering. And man, these are important conversations to have. Simon, thank you.
Appreciate you all.
All right. We're going to take a quick break right now. We come back. Bayana Holiday returns to the set. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Bella Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
We invite you to be our guest at Disney's Beauty and the Beast. It's a tale as old as time in a brand new production by Fifth Avenue Theater. Return to the magic of live theater with one of the most enchanting musicals of all time. Disney's Beauty and the Beast at the Fifth, January 12th to February 6th. Tickets at fifthavenue.org.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. Joined again on the set, Treyana Holiday. How are you?
Amazing. An amazing show today. I mean, I love hearing from our guests. Beautiful.
Yeah, man. Be over here working. You know what I'm saying? It's a show booking. good guests here. Andre Franklin, Porscha Shaw, Simon Fox. And yeah, man, you saying you're going on Friday, Beauty and the Beast, the Fifth Avenue Theater.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. And, just hearing more of Porscha's backstory, I'm like, wow, already. I'm like, we're going to get connected after this. We sure did. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to get there too. I've never been to the Fifth Avenue Theater. Wow. And so, it's one of the few places when you say never been somewhere that's been around that long. So I'm excited to get there. Let's see here. Two things. Sorry, gotta grab a note here. What we got? Oh, okay. So tomorrow we got Mike Davis. There he is, reporter, South Seattle Emerald. So we're gonna be talking. You said Dre Franklin's all happy about that. But we were talking about everything south end and south of Seattle. Yeah. He's also gonna give us a preview of clapback culture. And then tomorrow, I don't have a motion graphic for this, but it's a big guy, so we got to make big space. Tomorrow, we have Jake Gravbrod here, and his show GTFO for season 2 is ready to launch, to jump off. So we're gonna have the big fella here. He's got a trailer for episode 1. He's got a bunch of other stuff, maybe a few other things he might be willing to sneak out to the public. So we got Jake with us tomorrow.
Love it. Always love having Jake on the set, and our brother Mike bringing us the stories from South Seattle and his perspectives on what they're doing on clapback. You never know.
Hello. All right. We're overtime, but it was for good reason. Before we get out of here, any last words?
Oh, just always see yourself as a part of the solution, you guys. I'm just so inspired by the guests that we bring on. Clearly, Dre, Porscha, and Simon are doing just that in the ways that they see fit. And honestly, we are better off for their efforts. So you guys be inspired and see yourself as a part of an amazing solution out there today.
All right, good stuff. I like the way how we end the show now. For a few weeks now, actually, since it was recorded with Shayna Shepherd with her version of Hope recorded live right here in the Black Media Matters studio, directed by our own Salman Al-Kwashi. You know what I'm saying? Excited for tomorrow's show. Like I said, Mike Davis. Actually, we got quite a few headlines tomorrow, so we'll catch up on a lot of the news that's happening. And of course, Jake Gravbrod. I want to say thank you to everybody out there for your continued support. Thank you to the Fifth Avenue Theater and everybody over there for your intentionality and what you guys are doing, and including in making sure that we're part of the conversation as well. And I mean, I'm only assuming, but it has to probably be a good feeling for a Black cast member of any of these productions to come to the Black Media Matters studio and be uplifted by their people.
Oh, I mean, seriously.
Good stuff there. On that note, though, want to remind you, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity, Happy birthday, Dad. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I fear after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the shadow. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the unreachable. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make a deal. Lazy shoes and love is a love that turn. That's the kind of food that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Be steady, that's how you can feel it's real. But I feel naked in my new clothes, 'cause I got used to hiding the holes. This old world got new tricks and I'm in the thick of it. This I swear I'm already sick of it. At least I found the antidote. Oh, I know no one is a shadow. I know no one is a shadow. I know no